Welcome back. Now, the 7th Africa Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge concluded at the end of June in Johannesburg, South Africa. Now, to talk about her experience and reflection at the summit is Linda Mupupa, the founder of Outrageous Communications. Good morning, Madam Mupupa, and thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
Hi, good morning, Lot, and everybody watching NBC. Good morning, Namibia. It is actually an honor and a pleasure to be joining you this morning to share my experiences, and that is the Africa Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge, which was the 7th edition, and it was hosted, like you said, in Midrand in Johannesburg, and that is for the first time after it actually being hosted for 2 consecutive years, and that's right here in our beautiful country of Namibia, the land of the brave.
We do see that both 2023 and 2024, you had the privilege of serving as Master of Ceremony when Namibia hosted, as you rightly pointed out. This year, you return as a Program Director. Talk to us briefly about this journey.
Yes, actually, in 2023, when the event was hosted in Swakopmund, I served as the Program Director. In 2024, it was hosted in Windhoek, and then again, I served as a Program Director. So attending the 7th Africa Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge for the 3rd time was not only an honor, but it was a continuation of a journey. You know, I've been really privileged to walk this journey with the organization. So having served as an MC, this year in 2025, it provided my organization, my startup, which is Outrageous Communications, a platform which is committed to empowering not only myself, but other women, other young people in Namibia, and just give them this idea that as a creative voice in Africa, you can go, beyond borders. You're not limited to your country only. You're not limited to your town, but you're allowed to go as a professional, anywhere in Africa. Not even Africa, you're borderless. You could go everywhere into the world and just, show people who you are, what you are, and what it is that you bring to the table. So technically, any stage in the world is not big enough to accommodate you. You will be seated or standing on any platform that will accommodate you.
Now, this year's summit was a vibrant convergence of Africa's most promising youth, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and tourism experts. Talk to us what was happening during the days of this event and what stood out for you most of this year's edition.
Like you just said a lot, it was a vibrant convergence of Africa's most promising youth. We had spectacular young people who came with very youthful ideas to the table. What brought the stage alive was that we had experts and policymakers on the stage who not only had stories to tell, but they had relatable stories to tell. And they also touched on really pertinent topics with regards to tourism as a sector. Many people look down upon tourism. We frown upon not tourism per se, but activities that are involved in the tourism sector. So what this summit really did to us, it offered everything from master classes, how to adopt AI to become successful, how to design thinking, like deep thinking into topics such as agri-tourism. Imagine having a farm could also serve as a tourism activity. You bring down people just to show them that this is the millet that we farm in Namibia. This is the millet that Namibian people eat. That in itself could serve as a tourism activity. So agri-tourism was quite a big topic on the stage at the African Youth in Tourism Challenge. And that is mainly because we want the youth to, sell experiences to people, to tourists. When you speak of tourism, you want to sell an experience, something that does not really resonate with the next person, but they'll be so interested in wanting to know what it is that happens around this activity. So selling our cultures, selling our foods, those were really key topics at the summit this year. And then, of course, we look at aviation, careers in aviation. When one thinks of aviation, you look at only being a pilot, but there is so much more in the aviation industry than being a pilot. You could be a bag handler, for example. You could say, I don't have grade 12, but I want to work in the aviation industry. Why not? You could be a bag handler. You do it with dignity and pride, and you will, of course, be successful at it. You could be a check-in agent. Myself, I started out as a check-in agent with the national carrier many, many years ago, and I served in the aviation industry with pride. So there's so much that we can do in the tourism, sphere that is not only the usual that we see and hear of.
Now, from your observation, let's talk about some of the challenges that youth are experiencing and how we can mitigate these challenges.
Well, of course, there are always challenges, and some of the challenges is exposure. Some of the challenges that the youth have brought up is the fact that they are not seen or heard enough, the fact that the youth is not included in policy making and in decision making. These are challenges that the youth have brought up. And that is why an innovation or an initiative such as this one is very important, where we bring policymakers as well as the youth together under one roof to sort of iron out all these challenges. The youth says they are not heard. What can we do to make sure that the youth is heard? The youth says they are not part of the decision-making process. What is it that we can do to ensure that they feel that they are part of the decision-making processes? Those are some of the challenges. Some of the challenges that were also brought up by the youth themselves is the fact that some of these initiatives are not made known to the youth. Now, that is a challenge that I would say is a self-limiting challenge, because if one goes onto Google, for example, and you type in, let's say, aviation or pilot school, every other time that you log onto your social media, you will have a pop-up of that pilot school coming up, So some of these challenges of non-exposure of initiatives are self-limiting challenges. And I think it can be overcome if we continue to engage on such platforms and highlight the A's and the B's and what it is that you have to do to get into the industry, what it is that you have to do to overcome this challenge and that challenge. So basically talking and sharing and dialogue, the powerful story, the power of story sharing and storytelling is really important, because it brings to the fore some ideas that others might not have thought of, others might not have known of. So once again, no challenge cannot be overcome. And I think it's important that we continue engaging with the youth and then also captains of industry, just to make sure that we are all on par and, of course, work towards overcoming these challenges.
Now, you're talking about some of those challenges that young people are experiencing, but with the appointments that we're not maybe diverting a little bit away from your summit, is the fact that with yesterday's appointment of the 7 remaining governors, we now have 5 youth governors in the country. That is Wokomas, Oshana, Kunene, Omsati, and Angwena. So perhaps maybe there is that opportunity now for them to be at the decision-making table and have the ability to influence.
Well, I'm lost. Unfortunately, I cannot hear you too well, but I heard the word governor so many times. Hey? So these are new people who are just starting out, and I really do hope that sincerely they take into cognizance the needs of the people, the wants of the people, and what we really, really need as a society. And then, of course, when you look at Namibia, we are a top tourism destination. So I'm hoping that these governors will also take that into consideration. How do we actually take tourism from step A to step B and ensure that Namibia as a country and all the regions of Namibia benefit from tourism? So what is it that these governors are going to do to grow tourism in their respective regions and ensure that not only the youth but everybody in that region benefits greatly from the profits or proceeds and the many, many advantages that tourism offers. Remember, tourism is not only leisure, but we also have sports tourism. So sports tourism is really, really big, especially in Swakopmund, where we encourage events organizers and sports organizers to bring their events to Swakopmund. So I'm really hoping that all these governors can look at such factors such as sports tourism and encourage sports tourism in their regions, because basically, not only will it create or maintain healthy lifestyles among the people in the region, but it will also boost the local economies in each and respective region. So, yeah, unfortunately, I might not have answered your question because I can't hear you due to the network. But because you mentioned the word governor so much, and this is what I'm hoping to see from the governors, I really do hope that they do really capitalize on tourism as an industry.
Well, Linda Mupupa, thank you so much for making time to speak to us this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, that was Linda Mupupa, who is the founder of Outrageous Communications, also who served as the director of Director of Proceedings of the 7th Africa Youth Innovation and Tourism that recently took place in South Africa, talking to us about her experience and so much more.